My brother texted that he was moving into my house, saying our mom approved. I refused and called the police when he forced entry. Then he tried to push things further, so I got a permanent restraining order. It was not a question, not a request, just a statement. Kyle, we're moving in on Friday. Mom already agreed. Clean out the guest room. I stared at my phone for a solid minute. We're moving in. Not can we crash for a bit? Not, would you mind helping us out? Just we're moving in. Like my house was a hotel he'd already booked. Like I was staff. I sat up in bed wide awake now and read it again. Then I scrolled up through our message history. The last text before this, 3 months ago, when he'd asked to borrow my truck and returned it with an empty gas tank and a dent in the bumper, he swore was already there. Before that, 6 months, when he'd asked for money for car repairs and I'd seen him post Instagram stories from a casino 2 days later, and now he was moving in with who? His girlfriend, his kids, a random collection of people he'd promised my spare room to. I called him. It rang once, twice. Voicemail, of course. I called again. Voicemail again. Third time he picked up. Music blasting in the background. Voices, laughter. Yo, what's up, Kyle? What the hell is this text? What text? He sounded genuinely confused, like he'd sent it, forgotten about it, and moved on with his evening. The one about moving in on Friday? This Friday. Oh yeah. Sick, right? Me and Brittany need a place for a few months. Mom said your guest room's just sitting empty anyway. Mom said, yeah, she told me you'd be cool with it. I took a breath. Kyle, I never talked to Mom about this. Well, she said you did, or she said she'd talk to you. I don't know, man. Point is, we need a spot and you've got space. It's family. You're not going to say no. It's family. You're not going to say no. That phrase, the family weapon, the guilt bomb they'd been dropping on me my entire life. When Dad needed someone to co-sign a loan because his credit was trashed, family. When my sister needed free babysitting every weekend because she deserved a break, family. When Kyle wrecked his first car and needed someone to lie to the insurance company, family. And now apparently family meant I was supposed to hand over my house. Kyle, I'm not running a halfway house. Whoa, harsh. We just need like 3 months, 4 tops. Maybe 6 if Brittany's job thing doesn't work out. 3 to 6 months. Yeah, we're getting on our feet. Fresh start. You know how it is. I didn't know how it is because when I'd needed a fresh start at 23, I'd slept in my car for 2 months and worked double shifts until I could afford a studio apartment with roaches. Nobody offered me a guest room. Kyle, you can't just move into my house. Why not? You live alone. You've got the space. And Mom already said Mom doesn't live here. She doesn't get to make that decision. Silence. Then, bro, are you seriously being like this right now? After everything. After everything. What does that mean? You know what it means? We're family. You help family. There it was again. The magic word, the trump card. I'll call you back, I said and hung up. My phone immediately lit up with texts. Mom, Kyle told me you're being difficult. He just needs help. Don't be selfish. Kyle, whatever, man. We'll figure it out. Thanks for nothing. Dad, your mother's upset. Call her. I turned off my phone, sat there in the dark, and thought about the house I'd bought 3 years ago. Not inherited, not gifted, bought. With money I'd saved working 60-hour weeks as a project manager for a commercial construction firm, with a down payment I'd scraped together by living on ramen and never going out with a mortgage I paid every month on time by myself. This house was mine. Every square foot of it. The guest room Kyle wanted. I used it as a home office. My desk was in there. My files. My second monitor setup. The place where I worked from home twice a week. But to Kyle, it was just sitting empty. To Mom, it was space I wasn't using. To them, my life was just raw material for their convenience. I got out of bed, went downstairs, and made coffee at midnight like a psychopath. Then I opened my laptop and started making a list. Not a list of reasons to say no, a list of how to make sure no actually meant something because I knew my family. I knew that no was just the opening line of a negotiation to them, that boundaries were suggestions, that locked doors were just puzzles to solve. If I wanted to protect what I'd built, I needed more than words. I needed a plan. By 2 a.m., I had one. The next morning, I called my security company. Hi, I need to upgrade my system. Full perimeter coverage, motion sensors, doorbell, camera, window sensors, the works. The guy on the phone sounded way too cheerful for 9 a.m. Planning a trip. Something like that. We can have a tech out tomorrow afternoon. Perfect. Next call. My property management friend, Derek. We'd worked together on a few commercial projects. He knew his way around tenant law. Derek, hypothetical question. If someone tries to move into your house without permission, what's the legal move? He laughed. That's called trespassing. You call the cops. What if they're family? Still trespassing. Blood relation doesn't give you property rights. And if they have a key, did you give them a key? No. Then it's breaking and entering. You want me to draft something cease and desist letter? Maybe. Let me see how this plays out first. This sounds like a story. It is. I'll tell you over beers when it's done. I hung up and sat there feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Control, not anger, not resentment, just control. For once, I wasn't scrambling to deal with someone else's chaos. I was 3 steps ahead. Wednesday afternoon, the security tech showed up. Nice guy, mid-40s. Looked like he'd seen some things. So you want cameras at every entry point, every single one. Front door, back door, side garage door, windows on the first floor. He raised an eyebrow. You expecting trouble? Let's call it preventative maintenance. He grinned. I like your style. It took 4 hours, but by the time he left, my house was a fortress. 4 cameras, motion sensors on every door and window, a control panel by the front door with a code only I knew, and an app on my phone that let me monitor everything in real time. The doorbell camera was my favorite. High-grade night vision 2-way audio. I could see and talk to whoever was at my door from anywhere in the world. All set, the tech said, packing up his tools. You'll get alerts on your phone anytime a sensor trips. You can arm and disarm remotely. And if the alarm goes off, it automatically contacts police automatically. Yep, you've got the premium package. Alarm triggers. We verify it's not a false alarm, then dispatch law enforcement. I smiled. Perfect. He handed me a folder with all the documentation. Stay safe out there. Plan 2. After he left, I tested everything. Opened the front door. Alarm chimed. Closed it. Armed the system. Opened it again. Alarm blared. My phone lit up with notifications. Alert. Front door opened. Armed mode activated. Alert. Motion detected at entry. I disarmed it, feeling like a kid with a new toy. Then I did something petty. I opened the Ring app, went to the doorbell camera settings, and enabled the greeting feature. Now anyone who approached my front door would hear a custom message. I recorded it. Hi, you've reached a private residence. If you don't have an appointment, please leave. Smile. You're on camera. Short, polite, unmistakably clear. I saved it and smiled. Thursday morning, my phone rang. Mom. I let it go to voicemail. She left a 3-minute message that started with, I'm very disappointed in you, and ended with, family is supposed to stick together. No mention of asking me first, no acknowledgement that this was my house, just disappointment that I wasn't playing along. I deleted it. Then Kyle texted, Kyle, you're really going to do this? Make us homeless. Like he wasn't currently living in an apartment with Brittany. Like he didn't have other options. Like his failure to plan was somehow my emergency. I didn't respond. Instead, I called Derek. I need that cease and desist letter. You got it. Who's it going to? My brother, Kyle Morrison, and my mom, Linda Morrison. Your mom. She's the one who told him he could move in without asking me. Derek whistled. Family drama. My favorite. Can you make it official? Legal letterhead? The whole thing. Absolutely. I'll have it ready by tomorrow morning. Perfect. Email me a copy. I'll print and deliver it myself. Friday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m., printed 2 copies of the cease and desist letter on the nicest paper I owned, read through it one more time. 2. Kyle Morrison and Linda Morrison. Read. Unauthorized entry and trespassing. You are hereby notified that any attempt to enter, occupy, or claim residence at my address without express written permission from the property owner constitutes trespassing under state law. Any violation of this notice will result in immediate contact with law enforcement and potential criminal charges. This property is equipped with video surveillance and alarm systems. All attempts at unauthorized entry will be recorded and reported. It was beautiful. I put both copies in manila envelopes, addressed them, and set them by the door. Then I checked my phone. The Ring app showed everything was quiet, no movement, no alerts. I armed the system, grabbed my laptop bag, and headed to work. But I didn't go to the office. I went to a coffee shop 3 blocks from my house, ordered a large cold brew, opened my laptop, and waited because according to Kyle's text, they were moving in today, Friday, and I wanted a front row seat to what happened when they tried. At 10:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Alert motion detected at front door. I opened the Ring app. There they were, Kyle and Brittany standing on my porch, Kyle holding a duffel bag. Brittany with 2 suitcases. Behind them, a U-Haul truck in my driveway. I watched as Kyle reached for the doorbell, pressed it, and my custom greeting played through the speaker. "Hi, you've reached a private residence. If you don't have an appointment, please leave. Smile, you're on camera." Kyle looked up at the camera, squinted, waved. "Yo, it's me. Open up." I tapped the two-way audio button. "Kyle, you're not welcome here. Leave." He stepped back, surprised. "Dude, what the hell?" "We drove 3 hours. I told you no. You ignored me. Now you're trespassing." "Trespassing? This is family. This is my house, and you don't have permission to be here." Brittany stepped forward. "This is ridiculous. Your mom said, 'My mom doesn't own this house. I do. You have 10 seconds to leave before I call the cops.'" Kyle's face went red. "You're not serious?" 10-9-8. He pulled out his phone, started texting furiously. 7-6. Brittany grabbed his arm. "Kyle, let's just go. No, this is 5-4. My phone buzzed. Text from Mom. "Mom, what is wrong with you?" "Let them in." 3-2. Kyle grabbed the door handle, tried to turn it locked. He jiggled it harder, then started pounding on the door. "Open the door." 1. I tapped the alert button on the Ring app. The alarm activated and my phone lit up with a notification I'd been waiting for all morning. Alert. Alarm triggered. Police have been dispatched. I sat back in my chair, sipped my coffee, and watched the show. This was going to be good. The police arrived in 6 minutes. I watched it all through the Ring app like I was streaming my own reality show. Kyle was still pounding on the door when the patrol car pulled up. The alarm was wailing. Brittany had backed up to the sidewalk, phone pressed to her ear, probably calling Mom. 2 officers got out, one older, one younger. The older one looked tired, like this wasn't his first family dispute today. "Sir, step away from the door," the older officer said. Kyle spun around. "Finally, this guy locked us out of the house. This is your house. It's my brother's house, but we're supposed to be moving in. He said we could." The officer looked at his partner, then at Kyle. "He said you could move in." "Well, our mom said we could." "Same thing. It's not the same thing." I grabbed my laptop, paid for my coffee, and headed back to my house. This was too good to miss in person. By the time I pulled into my driveway, the officers had Kyle and Brittany standing on the sidewalk. The U-Haul was blocking half the street. A neighbor across this way was watching from her window. I got out of my car, walked up calmly, and nodded at the officers. "Afternoon. I'm the homeowner." The older officer turned to me. "You called in the alarm. Technically, the system did, but yes, I authorized it." Kyle stepped forward. "See, this is my brother. Tell them this is a misunderstanding." I looked at him, then at the officer. "It's not a misunderstanding. They showed up without permission, tried to force entry, and refused to leave when asked." "That's not what happened," Kyle shouted. "I have video evidence," I said, pulling out my phone. "Doorbell camera audio and video timestamped. Would you like to see it?" The younger officer nodded. "Please." I opened the Ring app, pulled up the footage from 20 minutes ago, showed them Kyle trying the door handle, pounding on it, shouting. The older officer watched in silence, then looked at Kyle. "That's trespassing, but he's my brother. Doesn't matter, it's his property. He told you to leave. You refused. That's textbook trespassing." Brittany started crying. "We drove 3 hours. We don't have anywhere to go." The officer's expression softened a fraction. "Ma'am, I understand, but that's not a legal justification for entering someone else's home." "Can you just talk to him?" she pleaded, gesturing at me. "He's being unreasonable." The officer turned to me. "Do you want to press charges?" Everyone went silent. Kyle's face went pale. "Charges, dude. Come on." I looked at him, at Brittany, at the U-Haul full of their stuff. Part of me wanted to follow through, make a point they couldn't ignore. But I also knew pressing charges would turn this into a years-long family war. Every holiday, every phone call, every family member choosing sides. "Not today," I said, "but if they come back, I will." The officer nodded. "Fair enough. Sir, ma'am, you need to leave now. Don't come back to this property without explicit permission from the owner. If you do, you will be arrested. Understand?" Kyle opened his mouth, closed it. "Yeah, good. Now move that truck. You're blocking traffic." The officers waited while Kyle and Brittany got in the U-Haul and drove away. No apology, no acknowledgement, just anger radiating off them like heat. After they left, the older officer handed me a card. "If they come back, call us directly. Reference this incident number." He pointed to a number written on the back. "We'll have it on file. Thank you. Get a restraining order if they keep bothering you," he added. "Family or not, boundaries matter." I nodded. "I will." They left. I stood there in my driveway watching the street return to normal. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, came out of her house. Mid-60s retired teacher made the best dumplings I'd ever had. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Family drama." She nodded knowingly. "The worst kind. You need anything, let me know." "Thanks, Mrs. Chen." I went inside, disarmed the alarm, and sat down on my couch. My phone immediately started buzzing. Mom calling, I declined. Kyle texting, I blocked him. Brittany calling from a number I didn't recognize, declined. Then a voicemail from Dad. I almost didn't listen, but curiosity won. "Hey, it's Dad. Your mother's hysterical." Kyle called her crying. "Said you called the cops on him. I don't know what's going on, but this is family. You need to fix this. Call me back." I deleted it. Then I called Derek. "How'd the cease and desist go?" he asked. "Didn't need it. They showed up anyway, tried to force their way in. I called the cops. Holy, did they arrest them? No, but I got it on camera. Officers told them it's trespassing. Nice. You want me to file for a restraining order? Not yet. Let's see if they get the message first. Smart. Keep that footage and document everything. If this escalates, you'll need it. Already on it." I hung up and opened my laptop. Created a folder labeled Kyle Incident, saved the ring footage, screenshots of the texts, photos of the cease and desist letters, evidence, because I knew this wasn't over. An hour later, my doorbell rang. I pulled up the Ring app expecting Kyle, but it was Mom standing on my porch in her church clothes holding a casserole dish like she thought this was a social visit. I opened the two-way audio. "Mom, now's not a good time." She looked directly at the camera. "Let me in. We need to talk. There's nothing to talk about. You called the police on your brother. There's plenty to talk about. He tried to break into my house. He was trying to move in like I told him he could. You don't get to make that decision." Her face tightened. "I'm your mother. Open this door right now." "No." She stared at the camera, shocked, like I just spoke in a language she didn't understand. "Excuse me," I said. "No. You don't have permission to be here. Leave." "I'm not leaving until we talk about this." I sighed, tapped the alarm button. The system chimed loud. Mom jumped back. "What is that?" "That's the alarm I'm about to activate if you don't leave." "You wouldn't." "I just called the cops on Kyle. Try me." She stood there holding her casserole face, cycling through disbelief, anger, and something that looked almost like hurt. "What happened to you?" she asked quietly. "You used to be such a good boy." A good boy. Translation: obedient, compliant, easy to guilt. "I grew up," I said. "Now leave." She set the casserole on the porch hard. The lid rattled. "Fine, but don't come crying to me when you need something." "I won't." She walked back to her car, got in, and drove away. The casserole sat on my porch like a guilt bomb. I left it there for an hour. Then I threw it in the trash without opening it. The rest of Friday was quiet. No more visitors, no more calls, just me, my house, and the peace I'd fought for. I ordered pizza, watched a movie, went to bed early, and for the first time in weeks, I slept without my phone next to me. Saturday morning, I woke up to 27 notifications. Texts, voicemails, Facebook messages, Instagram DMs. The family network had activated. Aunt Carol heard about the incident. "Praying for you both." Cousin Jennifer. "Wow. Calling the cops on family. That's low." Uncle Rob. "Your mom's devastated." "Call her." "Grandma. What's going on?" "Your mother won't stop crying." I read through them all, then archived every single one. No responses, no explanations, no justifications. They'd made up their minds without hearing my side. They always did. Around noon, my doorbell rang again. I checked the camera. Kyle. But this time he wasn't alone. He'd brought reinforcements. Mom, Dad, Aunt Carol, and someone I didn't recognize. A woman in a blazer holding a clipboard. I opened the audio. "Kyle, I told you not to come back." Mom stepped forward. "We're not leaving until you talk to us. We're family. You can't just shut us out. Watch me." Dad spoke up. "Son, this has gone too far. We've brought a mediator." He gestured to the woman with the clipboard. "NY's a family counselor. She's agreed to help us work through this." A mediator. They'd brought a mediator to my house without asking me. "I didn't agree to mediation," I said. Nancy smiled at the camera. "Hi there. I understand there's been some conflict. I'm here to facilitate a productive conversation." "I don't want a conversation. I want them to leave. That's exactly the kind of communication breakdown we can address," Nancy said, still smiling. "There's no breakdown." I said no. They ignored me. End of story. Mom's voice cracked. "Please just let us in. 10 minutes. That's all we're asking." No. You're being ridiculous, Kyle shouted. All this over a stupid room. It's not about the room. It's about respect. Something you've never given me. Respect. You called the cops on me because you tried to break into my house. Dad held up his hands. Everyone calm down. This is exactly why we need to talk face to face. We're not doing this, I said. You have 10 seconds to leave or I'm calling the police again. Nancy looked concerned. Sir, I really think if we could just 10, 9, 8. Mom started crying. Real tears this time. 7, 6. Dad's face hardened. You're making a mistake. 5, 4. Kyle threw up his hands. This is insane. 3, 2. They didn't move. 1. I dialed 911. 911. What's your emergency? I have multiple trespassers on my property refusing to leave. I have a prior incident report from yesterday. They were warned not to return. Address. I gave it to them. Units are on the way. Stay inside and stay safe. I hung up and looked at the camera. They were all staring at the doorbell at me. Police are coming, I said. You have 3 minutes to leave before they arrive and arrest all of you. Nancy backed away first. I think I should go. Good call. She speed-walked to her car and drove off. Aunt Carol grabbed Mom's arm. Linda, we need to go. No, he's bluffing. He's not bluffing. Look at him. Dad stared at the camera. You'd really do this to your own family. You did this. I set a boundary. You crossed it. Now face the consequences. In the distance, I heard sirens. Kyle heard them too. Dad grabbed his arm. Come on! They scattered, got in their cars, drove away in 3 different directions. By the time the police arrived, my driveway was empty. Same officers as yesterday. The older one shook his head when he saw me. Back again. They brought a mediator this time. A what family counselor showed up uninvited, refused to leave when I asked. He looked at his partner, then back at me. You want that restraining order now? I thought about it. About the last 24 hours, about the texts, the calls, the casserole, the mediator, about the fact that they weren't going to stop until they were legally forced to. Yeah, I said. I do. Smart move. I'll have the paperwork sent over. You'll need to file at the courthouse on Monday. I'll be there. After they left, I went back inside, sat down on my couch, and realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't stressed. I was free. For the first time in my life, I'd set a boundary and enforced it. No guilt, no second guessing, no bending, just a line in the sand. And they'd finally learned I meant it. My phone buzzed. One new text from a number I didn't recognize. I opened it. This is Brittany. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. Kyle told me you said yes. I didn't know. We found another place. Hope you're okay. I stared at the message. An apology. The only one I'd gotten. I typed back, thanks. Good luck with everything. She replied immediately. You too. And for what it's worth, I think you were right. He needed to hear no. I smiled, set my phone down, and went to make myself dinner in my house, in my space, on my terms. Monday morning, I took a personal day from work. At 8:30 a.m., I was standing in line at the county courthouse with a folder full of evidence. Ring camera footage, text messages, photos, police incident reports. The clerk looked exhausted. What are we filing today? Restraining order against 3 people. She raised an eyebrow. 3, brother, mother, father, family dispute, something like that. I filled out the forms. Dates, times, incidents, every detail documented. By 10 a.m., I'd submitted everything. The clerk stamped it and handed me a case number. Temporary order is in effect immediately. They'll be served within 48 hours. Hearing is in 2 weeks. I'll be there. Walking out of the courthouse felt like filing my independence. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. This is Aunt Carol. What you're doing is unchristian. Blocked. Another text. Different number. You're tearing this family apart. Blocked. They were using burner numbers, friends, anything to get through. I blocked them all. Changed my settings to do not disturb except for contacts. Silence. I drove home, stopped for lunch, and pulled into my driveway around noon. Everything looked normal. I checked the Ring app. Nothing. Then I noticed the Facebook notifications. 73 of them. Kyle had posted a long essay titled, When Family Betrays You. Can't believe my own brother called the cops on me for trying to move into his house that he has extra room in. Our mom said it was okay. We drove 3 hours. He refused to talk. Now he's filing a restraining order against family. Guess success changes people. 462 likes, 197 comments. I took a screenshot, added it to my evidence folder. Then I deactivated my Facebook account. They could talk about me all they wanted. I didn't need to watch. Around 3 p.m., my doorbell rang. Mrs. Chen, holding a container of dumplings, figured you could use some real food after all that drama. I smiled. You didn't have to. Neighbors look out for each other. You did the right thing. My son tried the same thing 5 years ago. I said, no, he didn't talk to me for a year. Now he thanks me. Did the family give you grief constantly? My sister didn't speak to me for 2 years, but my house stayed peaceful. Eventually, everyone moved on. She patted my arm and left. I ate 6 dumplings in a row. They were perfect. Tuesday afternoon, Derek called. Your brother and parents have been served. Kyle tried to refuse. Your mom cried. Your dad threatened to sue the county. Of course they have 2 weeks to respond. If they contact you before the hearing, document everything. Got it. I checked the Ring app, 27 alerts in the last hour. Dad's car had driven by my house 4 times slowly, Mom's car twice. A car I didn't recognize 3 times. None of them stopped, but the message was clear. We're watching. I saved all the footage. Then I called my sister Amanda. She picked up on the 3rd ring. Hey, I heard from who, everyone? Kyle's Facebook post. The family group chat created specifically to discuss you. There's a group chat. 43 people arguing about whether you're justified or a sociopath. What do you think? She was quiet. I think you set a boundary and they trampled it. I think they're shocked you finally fought back. So you don't think I'm wrong? I think you did what you had to do. But Mom's planning something. What I don't know. But she's been weirdly quiet. And when Mom goes quiet, it means she's scheming. Great. Lock your doors. Already done. Wednesday night, the power went out. Whole house. Complete darkness. I checked the breaker box in the garage. All the breakers were flipped off. I flipped them back on, then checked outside. Someone had opened the breaker box. The lock was broken. They'd cut my power. I called the police. Same officers. The older one looked at the box and shook his head. This was deliberate. Violates the restraining order. I don't have footage. They killed the power first. Smart. Upgrade your system. Battery backup for the cameras. Better lock on this box. I will. After they left, I ordered battery backups and a new lock. They were escalating, which meant I needed to be ready. Thursday morning, 5:47 a.m. My doorbell rang. I pulled up the app. Kyle was on my porch holding a sign. Brother locked me out. Please help. He was live streaming on Instagram. I opened the audio. Kyle, leave now. He looked at the camera. See, he won't even talk to me. Freezing out here. It's 65 degrees. Emotionally freezing. You're violating a restraining order. Leave or I'm calling the cops. Go ahead. Show everyone what kind of person you are. So I did. I dialed 911 on camera. Trespasser on my property violating a restraining order. Kyle's face went pale. Wait, you're serious? I gave the address. Officers are on the way. Kyle stood up, looked at his phone at the comments flooding in. Then he ran down my driveway into his car, drove away. I saved the footage. He just handed me evidence to make the restraining order permanent. Friday morning, I got an email from Derek. Subject, you're going to want to see this. A screenshot of the family group chat. Mom, we need to get into that house, find something we can use. Dad, the lawyer, said we need proof he's unstable. Kyle, what if we just go in when he's not home? Aunt Carol, that's breaking and entering. Kyle, not if Mom has a key. Mom, I don't have a key. Kyle, can we make one? I stared at the screen. They were planning to break in. I forwarded it to the police. Derek added it to my folder. Then I installed cameras inside my house. Living room, kitchen, hallway. If they tried to get in, I'd have footage because they'd crossed a line and I was done playing defense. It was time to end this. The 2 weeks before the hearing were the quietest of my life. No visitors, no drive-bys, no broken locks, just silence. The kind that made you wonder if the storm had passed or if they were just regrouping. I spent the time preparing, organizing evidence, printing documents, rehearsing what I'd say to the judge. Derek helped me structure everything into a timeline. Dates, incidents, violations. It read like a crime log. This is airtight, he said over the phone. They don't have a defense, they'll find one. They always do. Not this time. You have video police reports, witness statements, their own group chat planning a breaking. The judge will see right through them. I hoped he was right. The hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. on a Thursday. I got there 30 minutes early. Sat in the hallway outside the courtroom with my folder going over everything one more time. At 8:50 they arrived. Mom, Dad, Kyle, and a lawyer in a cheap suit who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. They saw me. Mom's face crumpled. Dad looked away. Kyle stared at me like I'd personally betrayed him. I didn't react, just sat there waiting. The bailiff called us in at 9:05. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Judge Martinez sat at the bench reading through files. She was 50s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense expression. Case number 248847. Petitioner seeking permanent restraining order against Kyle Morrison, Linda Morrison, and Robert Morrison. Is the petitioner present? I stood. Yes, Your Honor. Are the respondents present? Their lawyer stood. Yes, Your Honor. We're here to contest the order. Judge Martinez looked at him. On what grounds? Family dispute, Your Honor. Misunderstanding that escalated. My clients are willing to participate in mediation and counseling. Mediation was already attempted, I said, without my consent at my home. While I had a temporary restraining order in place, the judge raised an eyebrow. Is that true? The lawyer shifted. My clients were attempting to resolve the conflict. By showing up uninvited to the petitioner's home with a mediator after being served a restraining order, they were acting in good faith. Good faith doesn't override a court order. She looked at me. Present your evidence. I handed the bailiff my folder. He passed it to the judge. She flipped through it. Video stills, text messages, police reports, the group chat screenshot. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her pause on the group chat. Mr. Morrison, she said, looking at Kyle. Did you write this message? What if we just go in when he's not home? Kyle's lawyer spoke. Your Honor, that was taken out of context. What context makes planning to break into someone's home acceptable? Silence. The judge looked at Mom. Mrs. Morrison, did you tell your son he could move into the petitioner's home? Mom nodded. I thought it would be fine. He's family. He has space. Did the petitioner agree to this arrangement? Well, no. But then it wasn't fine. She looked at Dad. Mr. Morrison, were you present when the breaker box was vandalized? I don't know anything about that, Dad said quickly. The police report indicates your vehicle was seen near the property multiple times that evening. I was just driving by. 4 times. Dad didn't answer. Judge Martinez closed the folder, looked at all of us. I'm granting the permanent restraining order. All 3 respondents are to maintain a distance of at least 500 feet from the petitioner, his residence, and his workplace. No contact, no third-party contact, no social media posts about the petitioner. Violation will result in arrest and contempt charges. Mom started crying. This is our son. You're saying we can't even talk to our own son? I'm saying you repeatedly violated his boundaries, trespassed on his property, vandalized his utilities, and planned to break into his home. Those are crimes, Mrs. Morrison. The restraining order is the least severe consequence you could face. But family doesn't exempt you from the law. She banged the gavel. Order is permanent. This hearing is adjourned. I stood there letting it sink in. It was over, really over. Their lawyer packed up quickly, mumbled something to them about not making it worse. Mom tried to approach me. The bailiff stepped between us. Ma'am, the order is in effect immediately. She stopped, looked at me with tears streaming down her face. I hope you're happy, she said. I didn't respond because I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. I wasn't angry. I was just free. I walked out of the courthouse into the parking lot. Derek was waiting by my car. How'd it go? Permanent order. 500 feet. No contact. He grinned. Congratulations. Doesn't feel like something to celebrate. It is. You set a boundary and forced it. 1. That's huge. I nodded. Got in my car. Drove home. When I pulled into my driveway, everything looked exactly the same as it had 2 weeks ago. But it felt different, lighter. I went inside, disarmed the alarm, made coffee, sat on my couch in my living room in my house, and breathed. 3 months later, I got a letter in the mail from Amanda. Inside was a photo of her family at Thanksgiving, smiling happy. On the back, she'd written, "You were right. Boundaries aren't cruel, they're necessary. Love you." I put the photo on my fridge, next to Mrs. Chen's dumpling recipe she had dropped off last week, next to a postcard from Derek's vacation in Mexico, next to a photo of me and some coworkers at a company barbecue. My fridge wasn't empty anymore. It just had different people on it. Better people. My phone buzzed. Text from Mrs. Chen. Dinner Sunday. I'm making pot stickers. I smiled, typed back, I'll be there. Then I looked around my house at the cameras I'd installed, the alarm system, the locks, all the things I'd put in place to protect what I'd built. I didn't need them anymore. Not really, but I kept them anyway because boundaries aren't just about keeping people out. They're about knowing you can. And that made all the difference. All